Hello, Hippie Homework. This week with the newsletter, I spoke about the hidden language in words, and it's huge. You have no idea of the information that you're giving away about yourself in the words that you use, and also you have no idea about what you create based on the words that you use. And I gave 3 examples, some I've mentioned before. One was about the word can't. Can't is a word that we just use regularly, but quite often is not the case. It's not that we can't do something, it's that we don't want to do something. And by saying can't, we quite often are taking ourselves out of our power to do that, because occasionally a can't can have a little bit of a lie in it too. If you're trying to avoid something, oh, I can't do that, that's too scary, or I can't help you today, or whatever, that's a little dishonest lie happening either to yourself or to somebody else. So in the case of yourself, if you say, oh, I can't do that, well, you could, in most instances, you could do it. You might fail at it, but you could try it. You choose not to for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter. So rather than saying I can't do something, it would be better to say I don't want to do something, or I won't do something. That holds you in your power of a choice to say this is something that doesn't make me feel comfortable and I don't want to do it, rather than saying that you're unable to do it, which kind of puts you a little bit in a victim status. The other one that I came up with, oh, actually, let's just go back. If you're using the word can't to somebody else, then also that's sometimes a little bit of a lie. I can't help you today. That may or may not be true depending on what you're trying to get out of. But if it is true, like if there's limitations to your day and you can't do it, then can't is a perfectly right word to use. Or you might have some reason why it's physically impossible for you to do something. You might need to climb a cliff and you have no legs. That's going to make it a little bit harder. You may or may not still be able to do it, but there's sometimes the word can't is appropriate. But when it's not, what's a better way of saying it? So again, that you're not stepping out of your integrity and essentially lying to the other person as well. So an example might be, if we take the I can't help you today, if that's not quite true, then you could say what can you say? You can say, I'm unable to help you today, and because I have other priorities. And the other priorities might be that you want to sit on your bum and do nothing, and that's okay. That is a perfectly reasonable thing to want to do for yourself. And so you're not really taking yourself out of your power to say that you can't help. That got a bit weird for a while there. Sorry, that didn't flow well. We'll keep going. The other examples I gave in the newsletter were about how we phrase words. So I'm noticing with our children that we're giving a lot of cautions at the moment. Like my little man loves jumping up and down on the table. And honestly, the damage that he could do if he could get that wrong, and regularly he falls off things, and you're saying don't do this, be careful, blah blah blah. So rather than trying to phrase it in the negative where the focus is don't fall off, you're focusing on falling off. So what we have to say is get down off the table, or think about what you're doing, watch where your feet are, be aware of the edge of the table, different things like that, so that we put the focus on the right thing. If you don't want them to run, don't run down the corridor. That's not the way to do it. Please walk down the corridor. And I tell you, my partner and I are trying to get this right, and I swear it is so hard because it's ingrained. If you listen to how everybody talks, it's just ingrained to go to the negative. So you want to turn it around into the positive. And the third thing I spoke about was mirror work, which is how you reflect conversations back on the person who's actually having that conversation. So I've spoken about this a number of times, so I won't go into it again in this video because it's kind of like its own little video itself. But for this week I thought let's do something really simple and choose one or the other, or choose both, it doesn't matter. Choose the looking at when you're using the word can't, or have a look at the language that you're using, and if you're putting things in negative terms, and try and put it into a more positive focus of not what you don't want someone to do, but rather what you do want them to do, because that makes a huge difference. One's keeping you in the power, and one's also manifesting what you do want as opposed to what you don't want. Either one of those is a pretty good way to go with just a change of a few words. So have a good week, have a go. Not easy, is it, things? And I'll see you next week. Bye.